Arsenic on the beat.
Yeah.
The Babbling Heads Podcast.
Dus ja.
Yo, what's up? This is the Base 187. Welcome to this week's episode of the Babbling Heads Podcast.
I am DJ Fingaz.
I'm Adrian Kearns.
X2C.
And today we are featuring Cape Town's first, or I would say South Africa's first coloured brand energy drink. So I'd like to welcome Alistair from Kaapse Brew.
Thank you.
Cool.
Welcome.
And that's good to have you here. Let me kick off things because Alistair is like a home brother, also from an Overpark like me. And it was exciting when I saw the brand and I saw all the things happening around you. And then I realized, hey, this guy is also from an Overpark. Gevaarlijk. Well, maybe to start with, I know that energy drinks are normally linked to like sport and stuff like that. And you actually been quite a sporty person, from what I hear. You apparently played with Benny McCarthy, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Did you see him, for example, as what we see him now to be? Was there that talent there as a young person?
Yeah, we've seen him from a very young age. I mean, he used to be obviously a striker. I was a defender, and I mean, he always used to just take me for a fool on the field, kind of thing. So you already saw from a very young age. Even being at school, he used to be in every assembly. This guy was already, on his way. However, his brother, funny enough, was always looked at
Jerome.
Jerome was always going to be the one because Jerome played for Manchester actually.
Yeah.
And he was going to be the next big thing, but somehow Benny bypassed him. So yes, we've seen him from a very young age already that this guy was going to be something,
Okay, cool.
Okay. So tell us more about the actual product, Kaapse Brew. How did they come about?
So yeah, it came out of lockdown, funny enough. One of those success stories when lockdown was more positive than what it was negative. Myself and my partner Hilton Mitchell, who's originally from Strandfontein, we initially were going to launch some other beverages, but it was just before lockdown where I showed him an image of the teeth, and he was absolutely floored. And he said, "This is it." So, and then he called me one day. He said, Alistair, what do you think about an energy drink? I said, I know nothing about an energy drink. But it makes sense to me. The energy drink, the teeth, the Kaapse Brew, the name, the dadelik. It kind of just resonates with the culture in a sense, man. That there's so much energy within the culture in itself. When it comes to December, January, everybody's washing mats, everybody's hanging out by the windows, washing.
Iets wordt gepaint.
That smell, that pots got to get scrubbed the night before Christmas. There was a real energy. You buy your furniture beginning of December, it gets repossessed at the end of March. It was all part of the energy. And that's why I said energy drink for us it just makes sense, to kind of to come up with that, and obviously the rest of the teeth and the dadelik and all of that.
Nowadays, race is such a sore topic. It's a very warm to touch on it, because you don't want to offend people. Tell me, how did you guys come about with the Tanner, and don't you feel that it might offend some people because it's a difficult thing to unite us colored people under one I'm one, even the term itself is
absolutely.
But don't you feel that the logo itself might offend somebody or something?
I think being in business, you realize there's no one size fit all kind of scenario, especially being in clothing, and I've had family members that is currently offended by it. And everything. And what I try and tell people, this is not a race thing, it's a culture thing. And if you don't get that, you're never going to get it. And what the teeth for us and what it means is, it's obviously it's a symbol of where and how I grew up. But if you dig deep into the teeth story, it's actually an act of defiance by slaves towards the slave masters. Because if you go back and you do some research back in the 17th century when the slaves used to come here, they used to be identified or they used to be rated in a sense based on the quality of the teeth. And the front teeth used to be pulled out by the slaves in order to almost put themselves on equal footing amongst themselves, so that the slave master doesn't now start to determine the value of the slave by his teeth. And somehow that filtered into to the Cape Flats, because my understanding is that was done with a lot of the Malay slaves and that used to come here. And so number one, it's a symbol of defiance for us. It's also a symbol of hope. I mean, we've got big names that come from Nova Park. I mean, you just mentioned Penny McCarthy, the Desiree Ellis. You've got
Vicky
the Jonathan
Sampson.
Robains, Vicky Sampsons. I mean, these are powerful people that had real influence in South Africa, not just local on the Cape Flats kind of thing. So that is what this thing is symbolizing, is there's hope, man. And it's also about changing the narrative, because some people look at it, they see gangster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, when I look at it, I see this is the way out. You know, I see that the road doesn't end here, kind of thing. And that's part of the messaging we're going to try and push through the brand. And that is why we're always telling people, you're not buying an energy drink, you're not buying a product, you're actually buying a story. You know, and everybody has a story different to mine. It's very similar, but I mean, it's different. And through, I mean, we've got the story of the passion gap a little bit here. Come on the journey.
Yeah.
You know, and not only our story, but come and tell your story as well. So
That's very interesting. I've never heard that that 17th century history.
There's an alternative narrative that says, like, from the coin in the sand, is that because the colonizers didn't want them to speak their native language, which consisted a lot of clicks, that they actually removed their teeth so they couldn't do the click sounds.
yeah,
That's one of the alternative,
Yes.
like in terms, we did a short documentary clip called Tana Trots, like where we discussed like the history of the passion gap. That's with Brad Locks. But yeah,
Very interesting.
I like the fact that even though people will disagree with the logo, some might disagree with the logo, the fact is it's the first time that colored people are actually taking ownership, because we've been stereotyped. Like, we got that accent, we got that gangster vibe. It's like we all been shoeboxed on TV and radio, etc. But like, okay, now say, okay, passion gap is ons, so we're gonna brand it
Yeah.
yes.
and actually make it something positive out of it.
Yeah.
That's why for me.
Yeah. Just in terms of, you were speaking about, this is obviously a story. And I know a bit of your story. Just tell us more about that story, because I mean, you're a business person, you're a businessman, and very reluctantly, people on the Cape Flats go into that space. You know, we're very orientated to become employees. What made you go into the space of I'm assuming from a young age you felt like, you know what, I don't want to be how can I say, I don't have a boss. I want to be the boss. What gravitated you towards that?
I think let's just answer the one question, why people don't. And I think it's for very good reason. We don't have the safety net in that most, of our fairer skinned people do have in terms of trust funds and
That's a beautiful
trust funds and those kinds.
Yeah.
So there is that fear factor, and we don't have parents that can carry us should it not work. Those kind of things. So I think that's a lot of times where people are not wanting to, and you know, the narrative is the parent tells you, "Gaan werk vir 'n baas."
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of bottom line. And then to answer your next question, funny enough, I've never ever felt going into business because of obviously always been told in the family you must go work.
Yeah.
But somehow I was just never ever comfortable working. I would never 2-3 years in a job and I'll just be finished with it and I'll move on to next. And I've had so many jobs. I mean, I worked at KFC. I was a Father Christmas. I worked in. I did everything. Got into clothing manufacturing. I was in printing. I was in warehousing. I just did everything, but just never got settled.
Yeah.
Until I was pretty much forced into a situation when at the one job where the boss said that he wanted to sell the business, and I needed to obviously find myself.
An alternative.
And that's just when it clicked. Want to just go on your own. For years, people have been saying, you should be a boss. You've got the thing, in a sense. And it was only about 2-3 years ago where it actually triggered and it clicked, and got into my own. Married, 1 kid. I mean, you're playing with the finances. It's food on the table. All that emotional
all the
side.
risk and stuff.
But there was an unbelievable feeling, that just comes, and you just know and you just believe that this is it. And I've never ever looked back since. I've been very blessed, very fortunate. That business. I mean, I'm one of the few people that survived in the industry. COVID, so it's I wouldn't say it's been there from the beginning, but it took a moment to trigger off.
Okay.
And I think there are a lot of people on the flats that's waiting for that trigger moment. And what we are also doing, we are also assisting in Nova Park for those entrepreneurs that doesn't have the safety net. We're working together a lot with a resource center now.
Okay.
That's not dope.
In Nova Park. So what we're going to do, we want to build entrepreneurs, so what we do is we give you free product, start your business, brand your own business. So what I will do is I will supply your caps and your t-shirts so they can look professional, kind of thing. So we want to take those kids as well, and that they become entrepreneurs, and they're starting to, and we'll mentor them through the process together with a resource center and everything. So that's why they say the brand it's also a story. Again, it's going to go back to, it's just not a product. It's about we're going to be making sustainable differences in our communities.
And just in terms of the product pricing, what are you guys currently bringing the can to the market at? What is it available for?
So we obviously encourage the guys, the retailers to do anything between 10 and 13 rand, kind of as a price point. Also because we've got some of the proceeds you'll see at the back of the can here. It's got the Stop GBV.
Yeah.
Can I
just see Stop GBV at the back.
Okay.
Because some of the proceeds will be going to GBV.
Okay. I saw
programs.
that. Yeah, I saw the.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll be connecting with some NGOs in that regard that owns shelters and those kind of things. So some of the proceeds will be going towards that programs.
Just coming in, back to the pricing point. How are you positioning your brand against? Because obviously there's a couple more established energy drink brands that have been in the market a bit longer, with the likes of Skol, Reboost, Dragon, etc. Red Bull is that's a bit more. Red Bull and Monster is a bit more higher price. But I'm just in terms I'm saying in terms of the 10 rand pricing.
Yes.
And just so how has the brand met any resistance? Because I'm not sure if you have the same kind of marketing budget for the more established owns like Skol, who's got all the branded vehicles and stuff like that.
No, we're obviously not close to the marketing budget from those guys with the pumping millions. We're building this out of our own pockets. So that's the big difference. We've gone from a pricing point of view to match scores pricing. So that in terms of that, we've gone with that pricing, but we're very confident in terms of the story will sell. Again, because for the first time it's going to be something, because Skol doesn't even represent South Africa.
It's
it doesn't. But we got
half naked chicken, a soccer ball. Is that all South Africa thinks of that?
So and that's why we're very confident that this will sell. And our immediate target market is our own people. That's bottom line, and we're going to unashamedly will target our people, and our people will benefit from the product, kind of thing.
For us, by us type of thing. Tell me, marketing wise, he was talking about just the marketing thing. Will you from a sponsor type of point of view? Will you give sponsors to the local celebrities, like say
youngster. So.
say youngster and
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
obviously
these-
Kaapse Brew 5.0 because those guys come at mega bucks.
Yeah.
Unless he'll come on board and say, you know, I'm happy to
Yeah,
partner
to do
for
Like a
free.
brand ambassador or something.
But I mean,
Kinda.
even working your way up to
Yes,
to
that
bigger-
is
bigger-
eventually where we would like to get to. I mean, because the world is driven by influencers now and
Yes.
more than marketers
Yeah.
at the end of the day. So we'll get involved with bloggers, guys like Youngster CPT. I don't know if you saw this guy that did a rap about the can. We didn't even we didn't even ask him, but he came up with something. So I mean, so those guys are influence in their
Yeah.
space.
Yeah.
But funny enough, I also spoke about to another guy is who are the influences in our communities? Is a lot of times it's actually not these bloggers.
These bloggers,
It's these guys, the community leaders, have huge influence
Yeah.
Yeah.
of saying what gets bought, what gets sold in the communities. And so that's another route that we'll go is to engage actually with community leaders so that they can understand the benefit of the product to the
Community itself.
So that's the route we will go. We obviously don't have deep pockets to chuck money around. So that's what a lot of the activations and things we're doing between ourselves and a partner. We do it ourselves.
Okay.
We will be there. But it's also nice, I think, for people to connect with the actual owners of it.
Yeah.
To see that it's real people. It's colored people behind
Associated
it.
to us,
You know, because like a brand like Skol, for example, it's big in our communities. But it's run by 4 or 5 white guys that plows nothing back to the community but a couple of t-shirts and a couple of soccer balls, you know. So
Tell me, say there's a businessman, colored businessman or whoever that wants to invest. Is there opportunities for like say a wealthy guy? to-
yes, there is absolutely an opportunity.
He's talking about himself.
So whoever's
Wealthy?
listening,
I don't think so.
whoever's listening now, we are looking for $1 million bucks.
Yeah.
In order to compete from a pricing point of view, really, your margins are made on obviously bringing down your cost.
Yes.
And at the moment, we're using so many fifth parties, and you know they are adding their thing, they're adding their thing. So if we can get this money and bring the whole process in house, then we can immediately start to employ 4 or 5 people into the process. So yes, there is an opportunity for someone to if they want to come and assist. And we'll have the conversation with them.
So who came up with the formula for the
So,
drink?
so the formula is quite easy. It's not rocket science. As you look at the recipe book and you go bake it home, kind of thing. So, with the world of Google, the things have just
Yeah.
made so easy. You no longer need to work for a place, and it was a simple thing. Googled who makes energy drinks and things. We got hold of a lab up in Joburg. Said the lab, listen here, Red Bull is the standard in the industry in terms of taste, and so we said we wanted a Red Bull, and they sent us 3-4 variants, sent it down to us, where we actually sent it out to people. Because funny enough, I actually don't even drink the energy drinks, but my partner drinks like 6 of those a day, and we sent it out, and the feedback just came. We couldn't tell the difference between the Red Bull and this, and we said, no, that is it. Went back to the lab, they manufactured. We did a minimum run of 3,000, and this is obviously part of the 3,000 range.
Yeah. That's
That is
quite,
sitting here, and so we're very happy with the end product.
that's quite interesting because from my work experience, I work in the IT. So what we normally do is before we put something out there like an app, we always do user testing. So and I see you've done. I was going to ask you, have you done something similar because
Yes.
you are competing with a market that's saturated to an extent. There's quite a lot to choose from, and I would have wanted to know, like, out of that testing, and you really answer me. But what was the feeling like? What was the sense like in terms of taste, in terms of a similarity between what's available to them? What?
Yeah, like I said, because we purely went for the Red Bull taste because they are the standard in the industry. What the feedback was obviously that it's a Red Bull,
Okay.
but what they liked was most of the feedback we got. It's not as intense in terms of the sugar, which is very, very good as in terms of what the way forward in terms of our taxes,
yes,
and I think there's going to start to be sugar taxes on, so you have to lower your sugar. So we already positioned for that going forward, which is great.
So where does the energy? Because energy is obviously kilojoules.
Yes.
Sugar, basically. So how does the energy?
So your energy actually comes. A lot of people misunderstand it and think it comes from the caffeine.
Caffeine.
You drink coffee. Coffee doesn't give you energy. Coffee just keeps you awake. Because you can sit there like a zombie and be awake. You know, that's basically what coffee does. So where your energy actually comes from is it's got a lot of vitamin B in it. You'll find in most of your energy drinks it's got vitamin B. It's got taurine is the other one, which is also energy driver, and the mix. So it's taurine generally, your vitamin B and your sugars that actually give you the actual boost.
Yes, the
Was
boost.
the other one that Guarana?
Guarana, yeah.
Guarana, I don't know how much Guarana is in. I haven't done my own research on it. But again, with anything is if your marketing is good enough and tell people Guarana gives you energy, then.
So there was like
But whether it does or not, I'm not
blue
100%
chocolate
sure.
once upon a time.
So sorry. So this is vitamin B and vitamin B1.
Yeah, it's got a range of vitamin B. We just actually received our certificate of analysis, so some of that will change at the back. The nutritional facts will change at the back.
Okay. I know vitamin B12 is for the brain, for neuro connectivity. No, that's what I'm saying. I take a supplement, man.
Yes.
For that. So I know the vitamin B12 is that.
So like with certain energy drinks like brands like Red Bull, where there's actually an age restriction, it's like I know they're not allowed to sell to under 12s. Under 12s, yeah.
Yes.
Is this formula safe for
Yes,
for
you
kids on
have
the
to. You
campus?
have to. You are guided by laws. There is at the back of the can, which states here, because I handy this, but it's got the whole not recommended for children under 12, lactating, breastfeeding. So we are by law we have to put that on the cans. So when we do the bigger run, it will obviously be much more visible. But because we had to sleeve this for the minimum run, because when we do the bigger run, it will be directly onto the can.
Okay, cool.
And it will be much more visible. So yes, we are guided by laws, by the nutrition and food laws in South Africa to put those things on.
I think both Adrian and myself, being operational in Hanover Park with various initiatives, he's with the cricket club. We've worked at the resource center as well with Albert Matthews, them. And also currently based at Parkfields Primary, where we've been running projects there for the past 4 years. And some of the kids over there are actually becoming avid golfers. And I think this might be a good brand attachment. Not that I'm like, give me sponsorship or whatever, but I'm just saying for the ladies from Hanover Park, with the cricket club, with the golf initiative, with the arts programs we're running there, this could be something that's mutually beneficial, where the kids are actually seeing, look here, this is a local community brand for us, by us, and we can like push this forward. So I think this is definitely something that's much needed on the Cape Flats. Actually, a company that gives back from the word go. It's like basically it's in your mission statement. We are here to celebrate and promote the Cape Flats, and going forward, this is what we're going to give towards restructuring and building and our communities and promoting entrepreneurship. So which is like dope.
But just in terms of it, I was going to ask you a link to that. How is your distribution process going to take place? Because I think me and you had this conversation. I don't know, one of us had this conversation. We see that to distribute at the big macro spaces like your Pick and Pays and stuff, it's quite costly. So how are you going to get into the space first? I think that's the most important thing, given the fact that I would think that local is liquor, and that's where we would most likely want to infiltrate and then link that to situations like that.
Yeah. So in terms of distribution, the immediate thing would obviously be your typical spaza shop. Ace Winkel, your buy.
Yes.
Taxi ranks, robots. That would be the initial thing to go out. We actually have been warned to if we can, try and avoid the Pick and Pays and the macros, because you actually you make no money.
Yeah.
Because for every 10 pallets, they want 10 free.
Yes.
Kind of thing, and then they start to bully you into situations.
Sure.
So the initial thing is to go via the spaza shop, and I think we're very confident that could make us more than enough money to sustain.
Just build your own network, basically.
Yes, and I mean we've social media is such a powerful thing. We've got a lot of calls from Joburg, funny enough, from distributors that want to distribute there, and we've got a guy flying down in 2 weeks' time from the Eastern Cape that wants a product. Northern Cape is constantly just hounding me. When is it coming? When is it coming? So there's been a huge response, and the great thing about that is that we didn't have to go search for people.
The
you
story sold itself.
So absolutely. And I've got calls from the UK. Fun enough, because a lot of the guys overseas don't see it as a race thing or even a color thing. They see it as a South African thing. You know, so it's part of their thing again on that side. So some of the South African owned bars on that side would want to take this. And the guy actually made a joke. He said, you know, obviously they do the Jägermeister and the and the Red Bull thing as a Jaeger bomb. So he was talking about how over here we'll create some passion bombs. And, you know, kind of thing. So that's how far it's already, and we haven't even
done anything.
Done absolutely nothing. We shipped off some samples off to St. Helena Island a couple of weeks ago, because they also want, because I know most of St. Helena, I think most of them are from Grassy Park. But
my mom's from there. She always like brag.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just absolutely gone wild. So we're not even thinking about the macros. We're not thinking about the pick and pays. We're not, and I think eventually it will come. We need this on your shelf.
You know what this reminds me of? Remember when we had eavesdrops, when we said people from outside see the value, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In the Cape Flats, where we don't see the value really, because we're here in the trenches type of.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So that reminds me, when you said now the UK people, because they see the value that is here. They see the tapestry, the story. You know what I'm saying? And they want, obviously
they want to be part of it.
And and they come from South Africa, so they see a type of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a guy from Somalia that is hounding me. The fact that this guy is seeing...
You see rands there.
He's seeing rands and cents, because he's saying... I think he's not even understanding our own market better than what we do.
Yeah.
You know, because he's talking about he wants to come bring trucks every week and say, bro, just hold on. You know.
They're the best distributors, man.
Yeah, so he's been hounding us
my friend
all the time. Yeah. And so that's so the response has been absolutely overwhelming. So to go back to your distribution question, is initially it's just going to be rolled out locally, and that is why we want to set up with the community center while we're working, is that we want our own people to start becoming distributors of the product within our own communities. Because I always say to them that you've got these, you know, these Somali shops and everything, they're making millions out of our own people. So why don't you go make millions out of our own people? So we've set up 3 people within the center there, in the Noble Park. So we busy setting them up so they can start going to the Huis Winkeltjies. They can go to the taxi ranks. I said, you guys are speaking the language. You guys are on the ground. Why not take this thing? And it's so we've got 2 guys and 1 girl, because the deal had to be there must always be a female involved.
No, obviously.
In that project that we set up, because then it defeats the whole the messaging again. And so that is exactly what we're doing. In terms of getting the product out there.
Respect, much respect. I think for me it's just when I saw this, and it's like I said, we have 2 little stories, and it doesn't have to be. I always say this, it doesn't have to be the Beanie McCarthy story. It doesn't have to be the Desiree Ellis. Just people that make a success, man. It doesn't have to be the influencer kind of success. It just has to be the success that can be a role model or a showcasing to people like youngsters, and say, okay, fine, I can become an entrepreneur. I have this idea of not even this, but just being a fruit vendor.
Yes.
You know? I mean, that's one of our Cape Flats things. People like selling fruit and veg, but the next person, a young person, won't go into that thinking, we're not going to make money. But the reality is, I always make this
millions
joke. There's millions in it. There's like people at a car wash. We always see it in the informal settlements. This guy made a joke. He left a bank job, and I asked him, I interviewed him. He left a bank job at Standard Bank, and he started washing cars, taxis. Like, you see, in one day, I made more than what I was making in 1 month at the bank with my nice tie and collar. But people look at me like, yo, this guy is no more. You know what I'm saying? So the reality is that entrepreneurship is the way to go in our country, especially on the Cape Flats. So
and we want to be a big part of that, because I think also, people, these venture capitalists and those kind of things, people have to come up with 100-page business plans and things like that. And I think, having come from the community, we understand that it's not going to work. So what we want to do is eventually formalize a program where kids that want to become entrepreneurs and they've got these wild ideas, you know, and when we can financially support it without a business plan, because our people are better at saying it.
Yeah, then writing it
Writing
down.
it down,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, and that's the route we want to go. Is it's real informal, and just be a game changer in that space to say, you know, don't come here with a 100-pager. Tell me, because that's where I feel your emotion. That's where I feel your energy. You know, again, because you know, when some people, when they're really passionate about something, they get into it. And again, a business plan, 100-pager, is not going to tell you that story.
Yeah.
And that is what we want to do, rolling out going forward. Is in terms of that entrepreneurship program that we want to bring onto the Cape Flats, and that's exactly how we want to position ourselves.
With that being said, it's also like well known that Cape Flats are the best storytellers. It's like we don't we don't come out gisteraan daar by die bijeenkomst. My broer, sy moes gesien het.
Ja.
En toe kom ek daar en that's wat die ding.
Yeah.
It's like always nice, very explosive, it's very
Yes.
entertaining. It's like Cape Flats storytelling is like on par, like some of the best in the world.
No, absolutely.
And I agree with you. Like sometimes you want to. There's this organization, NYDA. You have to go through this whole process of submitting. I think like if we can get into a space where we actually allow people just to talk. Tell me what is your idea. Express yourself. You will get a lot more out of it. And you the discouragement of actually writing a freaking business plan of 100. But that's why people don't do it. It's because you're like, I must not go to Alistair with this 100-pager.
Yes.
I spent 3 days writing this thing. I can't even remember what I wrote here.
I actually saw a post on social media, and yeah, disclaimer, was something I saw on social media. It's like when somebody asked the question, guys, does NYDA steal business plans? It's like people that have submitted this stuff and they get told, nah, het gaat nie werkie, maar het word uitgerol op 'n ander kant, backdoor.
Yeah, but there's not go there.
Yeah, that's it. But like I said, that's a post I saw.
Yeah,
Legal
yeah.
disclaimer, ek mine. That's op Facebook, is mine.
I'm gonna.
One more question.
Yes.
So in terms of distributing, right? So there's obviously going to be someone that's going to have to deliver all of these things to the Somalians and so on. Are you
Just the
looking-
Somalians.
No, I'm just making it tuck shops and but are you looking at maybe employing local gents, like, you know, drivers or
I guess I should be a week.
Nothing wrong with having a sideline, multiple streams of income.
Yeah,
multiple streams of income, because it's like, I think that will benefit the men also a lot.
Yeah, very, 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 very good question. My partner and I have spoken hugely about that. So what we want to do is we don't want to employ any salespeople, any people. So the idea would be, once we reach that level, and you want to become a distributor, and if you feel you've got a little bit of a network, we want to then give you like a starter pack. So it would be your bucky with your first pallet. And you become an entrepreneur. So you go build your business. You go and find your customers. You won't come work for us. Otherwise, it defeats again what we're trying to push.
Yeah.
Is that you become self-sustaining in your own right. And what we will obviously support in whatever way we can. So yes, we don't want to. Where we want to employ people is into the plant. But in terms of getting the product out there, it has to be independent. So if you come to me and say, listen here, I really want to do this. I feel the brand. You know, I've got 10 aunties in the courts that want this brand. Can I distribute? Then we say, absolutely. You know, this is our support for you. And that's the way we want to roll out from the distribution side. Is say to the guys, become your own boss. You know, and again, and through that you'll actually find, you'll start to, okay, and I can do the distribution for them.
Yeah.
And I can go to the bread people.
Yeah.
And I can do the same.
Yeah.
And again, we'll be part of that process to say, how do you approach them? What kind of conversation do you have with them? Then you start doing your cigarettes. You need to have a meeting with British American Tobacco. And you'll start to see that, and that is why we want to encourage from the start the entrepreneurship thing, and don't come and work for us.
Yeah.
You can become a driver, and you're just going to sweat me every year because you're not going to get
any bonus.
Yeah, you know, that time of the year. No, it's going to defeat what our messaging. Yeah.
That's dope.
I'm good.
Anything else?
Oh, yeah, so yeah, from our side, it's like we just had a a wheat taster, and it's into shabby, and I can't wait to
I
see.
can see where you say the
sugar.
the sugars less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it has the Red Bull.
Yes,
Flavor.
flavoring.
flavor.
Yeah, flavor.
I can actually drink more of this because of the less sugar.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? It's
Yes.
I don't think that brand.
I was gonna say yeah.
That's what people, that intensity.
Yes, yes.
Because sometimes that's too much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Unless you drink it with vodka.
We'll have to check that out later.
Passion bomb.
Passion bomb. Hey, bro. No, but yeah.
What
From,
was it? Fun fact? Where was
No,
it?
it's okay.
Is it okay?
Oh, fun fact, Kaapse brew, cool drink now as stories of local Cape Town heroes. Do you know that?
Where?
Oh, I must actually tell you that story. That's actually going to be...
Yeah.
Okay, begin away.
No, so what we're actually going to do is, because again, there's going to become a story, so we will roll out at least once a quarter going forward, almost
Profile or something.
profile sweet stories on the can. So we will do like a freedom range, for example. So we'll have like Ashley Creel,
That is amazing. That is
Anton Francis.
amazing.
Anton Francis story, the Basil Februaries,
Yes.
and with some of our females heroines as well, we want to all pop them and do it like a 6-pack,
yeah.
Yo.
you know?
So it's like becomes collector's items. I remember as a lady
Yes.
we used to have
World Cup.
the World Cup
Yes,
and
yes,
there's
the-
Yes.
soccer stars whatever.
Oh, yeah.
right?
That is so
just-
amazing.
So that's
yo.
what we want to do. Then we want to do like a sports range, you know, that the guys that's passed on in our communities,
Yes,
that,
yes.
that we celebrate through the cans. And then we want to do some of the music heroes,
Yeah, the jazz
the
Owens.
Dalip Petersons,
Oh, yeah,
the Robbie Jansons, and celebrate them at the back of these cans. You know, and then obviously those proceeds will go to whatever NGOs that they tied up to.
Yeah.
Kind of
Amazing.
because obviously there's all sorts of legal permissions that we need to get from them.
I could
As
say
well.
that there must be like a 4-pack, a Babbling Heads 4-pack, but it's not going to sell. It's not going to sell.
Especially with these faces on there.
Yeah. So that is something
Oh, that's dope.
that we will be rolling out again. We're not selling a product; we're selling a story.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
that's
and-
Amazing. That's amazing.
So
No.
yeah, we want to approach the market slice very, very differently in terms of that, and it's something that's untested, and we're going to test it. And
No, I think
see.
there's gonna be a fragile clones that's gonna try and emulate what you guys
Yeah.
are doing.
I'm getting goosebumps.
But from our side now, we wish you all but the best and strength in the future, and we'll do our
Thank you.
utmost to also
Push from outside.
push from our side as a platform to make sure that the message gets out as much people as possible. That look, here's local, support it. It's not giving it to a Red Bull or to a Monster Energy that thinks nothing of the community, etc. They just need to sell this stuff and gooi. But this is actually plowing back. But yeah, no, duidelijk from us.
Dj Fingaz?
Adrian Kearns.
Charlie X2C.
The base 107. Thanks a lot for being here, bro.
Cool, Alice de Banding, Kaapse broer, duidelijk.
The Babbling